Boom, there we go. We're live. Sometimes we have technical problems. Today we're having a few lighting issues, but Mike's managed to get himself on a sofa with the Holy Grail neon light directly beaming off the top of his head.
looking comfy, Mike.
So for those people that are working out that we're live, getting the notification that we're going live, because every single week, Thursday, 6 o'clock, we go live. Sanjay's done his minute, so we appreciate that, Sanjay. Today we're going to talk about what's on the bar below. So how not to sell your house. It's a topic where we thought, look, let's share some tips. God knows how much experience we've got in the room here. Let's call it 100 years. It's got to be rounded up to 100 years between us. Definitely over 75. Yeah. And we thought we might as well share some tips on what not to do when you're thinking of selling. So if you've got questions, if you've got anything you want to talk about, throw them in the comments and we would love to get those answered. I've got joining with me today, Mr. Sanjay Patel, Mr. Lee Glome, and Mr. Avocado Mike. So I'll go to you first, Lee, because I've not seen you in a while, bud. But how are things? Easter's out the way.
Yes, yeah. It's all good. Yeah, long Easter for us. So little one went back to school finally today. So can get cracking on a few things. But yeah, no, business is good. Picked up in the last couple of weeks. Got some decent valuations coming in. Just booked in a nice tidy one for next week, which we're really looking forward to. But hopefully, all being well, got 3 or 4 listings in the pipeline as well over the next 3 or 4 days. So yeah, all good at the moment.
Good job I came to you before going to Sanjay, I guess.
Yeah, he's just vanished.
It's just done. He did say, for anyone that's watching, he did say he's having a charger issue on his laptop at the moment. So I'm just going to roll with it. But Mike, how are you doing, mate? You're on the sofa there, on the magic sofa.
Tickety boo, been growing flowers. You know how it is.
Yeah, you did make those flowers. You did make that wall. To be fair to you,
I did.
Yeah, it's very, very good, Mike. Very good.
I'm not too green fingered. I can't say it was my horticultural qualities that brought the flowers out.
How is the Cranley market, Lee? How are things? Kind of in that Surrey area. What's been going on, sort of south of Guildford? In and around there. What's happening?
Yeah, it's good. There's plenty of buyers around at the moment, which is always good. Is what we need, isn't it? There's still not as much coming on the market at the moment, but I mean, it's like anything that comes on. If it's correctly priced, it's going to go quickly. I mean, I launched a 3-bedroom semi the other day, 550,000, and sold it off the back of my Beat the Portal. So it didn't even venture on Rightmove and Zoopla, and I had 3 or 4 calls off the back of my Beat the Portals and a little coming soon advert on Facebook. So yeah, if as always, if they're correctly priced, they will go. But yeah, there's plenty of buys around. It's just need a few more nice properties coming to the market at the moment. So yeah, so I've got a number of valuations being booked in. Got a couple of nice properties coming to the market in the next couple of weeks. So yeah, things are starting to pick up again, which is good. Now spring is finally in the air.
Yeah, it's been lovely today, hasn't it? Although it looks like it's going to rain here now, but it has been lovely today. And I wouldn't say Sanjay is like that, actually, Lee, to be fair. I think he's all right.
Yeah, he has his moments.
Hey guys, come on.
Come on. You just you did a bit of a Superman approach then. It looks like you might have got changed. You definitely changed location, and your screen camera's improved as well. But how are you? How's Avocado Bracknell? How's Sanjay? How's Ellen?
I genuinely feel we are double as busy as we were this time last year. Fact. Actually, that's facts. Life is good. Like the business is rocking and rolling. There's a lot going on. There's a lot more houses coming to the market. There's actually a lot more selling, in my opinion, from our perspective in Bracknell than there was this time last year, and we're still getting open houses will still get multiple offers if you're pricing right, if you're marketing right. So I can't really complain. I think there's still a lot of people that are on the fence about moving, and you know, for various different reasons, but it is what it is. But yeah, other than that, all good.
Nice. Good to hear. I mean, it's good to hear you're busy. I saw, in fact, we're going to post the statistics, but 20CI do a really cool home movers guide. If anyone's ever seen it before, really good data. And they did a whole comparison of 2023 versus 2019 and kind of looking at the new listings versus what was selling. There was slightly less coming to the market, but the ratio of which they've been selling so far year to date still surpassed 2019. So I think it was 70% of properties listed was selling, whereas previously it was like 62, something like that. So market wise, feels fairly normal. So you know, that's a positive in itself, I think, for sure. Got a comment in here. Who we got? We've got Georgina. What would you say to those that are on the fence about moving? You mentioned it there, Sanjay. What would you say, Lee, for people sort of sat on the fence?
I think it's a case of, you know, if you want to move, then you've just got to go for it. I mean, you know, we see it all the time, don't we, where people are, you know, sat on the fence and you know, wanting to move, but maybe they haven't quite seen what they're you know, looking for or wanting to buy. But you know, we go on about it all the time, and you ask any of us lot in terms of, you know, what's best to do first, and you know, it's always get yourself in that position, you know, get yourself on the market, get you know, a buyer first, and then, you know, when that property comes on, you know that, you know, you're in that prime position, you know, to make an offer on it, and you'll be the front of the queue.
What do you reckon, Mike? You're going through the home moving process yourself at the moment. So what's your thoughts to those that are on the fence?
Write a list of pros and cons if you don't know whether to move or not, and make that decision, make a firm decision. That you drinking a pint?
It's a pint of squash.
Come on.
That's just what I said. Make a list of pros and cons about why you're thinking about moving, because something's triggered you to make you think about it, and figure out which one is the stronger list for go or stay, and make a firm decision, because you either need to move, want to move, or you don't. Don't play at it. Don't put your house on the market thinking we might not, because in that sense, most people will overprice their house and find that the market isn't right, when that's absolutely not the case.
Yeah, because I think what's been interesting in your situation, you're obviously in the industry, but you were thinking you were going to extend, you know, was your thing, and then you've always had one eye on the market a little bit deep down, haven't you? And when the right property came on, you were fortunate enough because being part of Avocado, you can do things correctly. So you did things correctly. You got yours moved on nice and quickly. And it was kind of a case of striking, but not everyone can do that, because sometimes people get caught in the motion. But it's a really good case study to kind of show, I guess, like you say, doing the pros and cons. I think, if you're honest, deep down, you didn't start the extension part of it because you checked out, probably, hadn't you? And I think a lot of people maybe haven't taken that action. What do you reckon, Sanjay? Do you speak to a lot of people you think you want to move, like you've got the ick? You know, you're looking at Rightmove way too much to not want to move.
Maybe not the ick. I don't use that term, but they got the itch.
I think it's the itch. I think you had
I had a conversation with someone yesterday. This is actually gospel. So she said to me that they were thinking about moving over the last 2 years, and they saw what was going on in the market 2 years ago, where prices were rocketing, interest rates were low, but they thought we couldn't afford to move because everything was going for stupid money, which was the facts. And then last year happened, the interest rates increased. It's like, okay, I'm not going to move now because, you know, the interest rates are expensive, blah, 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 etc. And then I spoke to her yesterday, and yeah, all of a sudden there's a house that's come on, which she's really interested in, but their house is not on the market or not sold. So I just felt like there was always something, but there is always going to be something when you're moving. It doesn't matter if it's, you know, personal reasons or mortgage rates or market or whatever it is, but ultimately you need to move if the time is right for you logistically and financially. That's the time to move, you know. So yeah, there's always going to be something. Fact.
Yeah, I agree. I think if you've made that decision as a family or as an individual, if you're moving on your own, or if you have got the ick and you do need to move on for
That's a
different
different
reasons,
reason for moving.
check out the live last week, the last 8 minutes of the live last week. There's a few stories that we shared that will give you a reason why sometimes people do get the ick and what happens in that story as well. Awkward stories. But yeah, I think if you're going to make the move, there's no point in hesitating. I saw a great stat where some people have been waiting to buy and they'd been kind of thinking back in 2018, 19, the whole Brexit thing. Then all of a sudden COVID hit and they're like, right, money in the bank, I'm going to see this out and I'm going to pick up some deals. 25% increase later. Inflation's obviously gone up, 10% this year, a couple of percent last year and the year prior. Your money's worth way less. The housing market's moved on way more. Don't hesitate sometimes is probably the best thing to do. Don't try and play the housing market. It's normally too stable for that kind of game, really. So that would be my advice. Mike, just coming to you because we touched on things. I've got a bit of an update from the guys, but calling all landlords and property investors, what have you been working on from an Avocado lettings point of view? And what would be the best way to kind of roll that out to all the landlords out there, property investors, because the infrastructure of the lettings business for us is in a much sort of more diverse way for people in any part of the geographic map that Avocado cover, isn't it now? So do you want to give us a bit of a summary on that?
Well, we've always offered rentals generally around our core area of Bracknell since we opened. First quarter of this year, I've spent building a team out in our head office to allow all the partners, so geographically everything from Portsmouth up to Stevenage, from Swindon across to Maidenhead, are able and have the ability to advertise and to rent properties. So now we've got, instead of just having 1-2 people on the road, we've now got 28 odd partners who will be offering a letting service, centrally, fully managed from our HQ. So totally revolutionised service. The same level of marketing that you see from the sales perspective. So the opportunity to get better tenants, get stronger rents, get the right contracts, and have better contact with someone who's going to asset manage your property for however long it is that you plan to hold on to it for, and that same person can sell it when that journey comes to an end as well.
Very nice. Yeah, it's good news. And I know, Lee, you've been talking to landlords. Sanjay, obviously, you've got a lettings background. Ellen's got a lettings background as well. So, it's a great way to try and help all clients, isn't it, in every way, really?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's something that we've, certainly from my perspective, I've been very keen to bring into my business, ever since I started almost 3 years ago. And, the fact being that we offer, that service of being able to manage everything at HQ, but from a marketing and, marketing perspective, the individual partner still deals with everything solely like we do on a sales side is great. And I've just had my first rental this move in last weekend. So, it's really good news. And my landlord loved the fact that, again, he was just dealing with that one person throughout the whole of the transaction. So it made it seamless from his perspective. And I think it's great. And like Mike said, it's going to revolutionise the letting side, like we've done obviously on the sales side.
Absolutely. No, it's exciting stuff. Sanjay, you mentioned, Bracknell's popping, or you guys are at least, twice as busy as you were this time last year. What's kind of the key conversations you're having in living rooms at the moment for clients? And we put a title in, to the live, how not to sell your house. So what's the advice you would give people not to do?
The key conversation or the key question that always comes up is, should I sell my home before looking? And I'll be honest with you, still to this day, 90% of the clients I speak to, they're not sold, but they said they would want to find their property before selling their home. But what actually happens is that they go and find their dream home, they can't sell theirs, or they rush to sell theirs and take a lower price, and then evidently miss out on that home anyway. So it's almost like it's not a chicken and egg scenario, in my opinion. It's like, do it the right way, get yourself a firm buyer, as Lee said earlier. Like, why would you not? If you're serious about moving, then there's no reason why you shouldn't. But also the question always comes up, well, if I find a buyer, I don't know how long it's going to take for me to find. Of course, but if you found one buyer, you can always find another buyer, right? So that's kind of the story at the moment, which is coming up a lot, and it's still coming up a lot as well.
And I'm going to put in...
So just adding to what you just said there, Sanjay. I mean, vendors are always, like you said, they're always worried about if I sell and I haven't found, then what do I do about this buyer? And you're right. If you find one, you can find two. But what I've always said to my clients is, as long as you're honest and upfront with buyers from day one, that you can manage their expectations. And if a buyer's walking around that property knowing full well that your vendor has to find a property, and it might take him a couple of weeks, it might take a month or two, then they can make an informed judgment themselves on, well, would this property work for us timescale wise? And if they've got to be in somewhere by in 2 months' time, then they can make that decision there and then that property might not be for them because the vendors still need to find a property. So it's all about managing expectations as well.
And I put a link in based on kind of, a lot of people just want to keep an eye out, but they don't want to go on a mailing list for an estate agent because it's annoying. You get sent loads of stuff that you don't really want. Well, the link that I've kind of just put in here, this is how you get the heads up on properties via us before they hit the portals. There's over 300 people that have registered via this link. Some people have registered to say, Mr. and Mrs. Smith want this road, and they want a 4-bed on that road between 600 and 850, and they will get sent nothing unless that property on that road, there might only be 3 of them in the street. If one of those 3 houses come to the market, they will get an alert before it hits Rightmove and Zoopla to give them the heads up, to give them the jump. So it's a unique piece of AI software. I'm not going to say it's exclusive to all estate agents, but round here, it's exclusive to us. So if you're looking for a property in particular, really specific, down to a road, down to a school, you can tag schools, you can tag locations, fill out the reg, and you're only going to get alerted from how you register yourselves. So if you're sat there in a property and you think, I only want a certain type of home, you get to register yourself and highlight exactly what it is. You haven't got to call up an agent and then they put down whatever they want to make sure that you get a wide span of everything. This gives you the chance to register yourself. So take advantage of it. Like I say, there's 300 plus exclusive people on there now that have got exactly that search going on in our system through AI. The wonders of AI. Hey, Mike. So yeah, that's a really cool way to do that. What would you say, Mike, what would you say how not to sell a house? You sold yours in 48 hours. What would you say wouldn't have made that happen?
Well, firstly, I wouldn't sell my house without having somewhere else to go to. So I'm going to contradict Sanjay on purpose. I wouldn't put my house on the market unless I had a firm idea of where I'm going. Reason for that is I've got a 4-year-old and I need to sort out schools. I've got other responsibilities, other needs. When I was young, free and single, quite frankly, I'd have just cashed in and slept on a sofa somewhere. It wouldn't have mattered. But from my personal point of view, I wouldn't have sold my house unless I had somewhere else to go. So what do I do from that perspective? Not how not to sell your house, but how to sell your house, is be ready to go. If you get the idea that the right house is coming available, you get the heads up that the right house is coming available, you have to be ready to strike. And yes, I was willing to sell my house for probably £10,000, £15,000 less than it could have got with peak marketing. I was willing to take that difference from what Sanjay would do or what Sanjay would advise, I'm willing to have it cost me that money and put it back on the mortgage for the certainty, because everybody's got a different set of needs, whether it's speed, price, ease, or certainty. Mine is certainty over price. So from my perspective, I'm waiting until I've got the idea, I've got something to go to. But when I have something to go to, I'm going to move heaven and earth to get it. So that's a difference. The subtle difference is I'm not then going to put it on the market £25,000 over market value and waste everybody's time, because I don't have that expectation that you can have everything in this world. Just to put some perspective on it. How not to sell your house. I've obviously been out viewing other properties. How not to sell your house is to let the buyer walk in and the seller's still in the house with their kids, their dogs, haven't tidied up, haven't made an effort. Because my first impression of a buyer, if I go into somebody's house and they haven't even taken the time to tidy up and leave for me to view the house on my own in my own time, I get the impression that they're not going to move. And for me, certainty says, hey, these people haven't found a house, they're not really looking for a house, and they're not even making an effort to sell their own house, they ain't moving. So that's how not to sell a house to me as a specific buyer. You got to show me that you're definitely moving. You got to make an effort. If I see that if I get that gut feel that you're not going to move, I'm not even going to offer.
Full disclaimer, there was one house I went to and there was dog poo all in the garden.
Oh.
And we went there to do the photos and video and drone and stuff like that.
What you been doing in my garden?
Yeah, you need to sort it out. It's simple thing. It's simple things like that. We go there to get the best presentation that you could possibly get when you're marketing your home. And if anyone knows how any of the partners do, video is a massive thing, and it's simple things like that, really. But that's one reason now not to sell your house.
Yeah, absolutely. I went to a viewing. It was booked a week in advance. Husband was downstairs with the two dogs. Wife was in one bedroom on a Zoom call, so couldn't go in that one properly. Son was working in another bedroom, so couldn't go in that one properly. Study, you couldn't see the carpet. And I'm just thinking, no, these people don't care whether they sell or whether they don't sell. And to be fair to the estate agent, he was mortified. It was not his fault. He'd done everything he possibly could to arrange the viewing with plenty of notice. It's down to the seller. And I said, the reason I don't want to buy this house because I don't think your client's ever going to move. I think they're wasting your time and mine.
Yeah, it's a frustration, isn't it? I never know why someone just does it when they're not really 100% in it. But I guess that goes back to what you were talking about. You're not going to put your house on the market unless you'd found something. That potentially means you're out of pocket, but you don't care about that because you've got a process. It's done today and it'll end then. And that's the timeline I'm going on. I'm happy to accept the lower figure and the higher figure. Someone will play the financial gamble and they'll try and get a deal on the one they're buying and get maximum on theirs. And that's a small margin. It's a small percentage of people that can do that. But moving with families, Lee, that's a hard thing in itself, isn't it? So what would be the advice on how not to sell outside of what's already been discussed for families? What do you think? I mean, Mike's mentioned there about letting people have their own time in your property, but
yeah,
to give you an idea, this weekend's grandma had our kids. We've been in this house for about 3.5 years now, and I got the old grey paint out from the garage and decided I was going to go and remove greasy handprints, a couple of drawings from the youngest one off the walls, just as a bit of a touch up in our house. It took me 2.5 hours probably to get my house looking like it had just been totally repainted. And that makes a big difference, I think, for people. What do you reckon, Lee?
Yeah, totally. And funny enough, we've actually just done exactly the same thing. Charlotte had my little one for the weekend, and I've just touched up the living room and a few of the doors as well, where obviously our little one's been drawing, and the dogs have got their muddy paw prints on things, and it, like you say, it doesn't hurt, does it? And it doesn't take long just to to freshen things up. But like what Sanjay was saying there, presentation is 100% key, isn't it? And it doesn't take that long to make sure that your home is looking its absolute best. And if you've gone to the effort of putting your house on the market and inviting people to come to your home, you want to make sure that it is looking its absolute best. And that goes just tidying up the kids toys, and not having, obviously kids come with loads of toys. Just get rid of some of them. You don't have to have all of them out on show. Just put some in boxes and put them in cupboards, and just make the property look as best as it can. And again, silly little things like the garden, just make sure it's all nice. And if you have got pets, clear up after them. You don't want your buyers walking through and accidentally stepping in it. So it's just taking care and pride in your home as well. And as I say, if you've gone to that much effort to make that decision to list your home, then do everything you can to help sell it.
Yeah, good advice. Sanjay, have you got a black wall there above your radiator?
It's actually navy blue.
Huh. Looks very dark.
Lighting.
Talking lighting, the sun's out and it's everything's looking glorious. What's your advice to people that have been on the market since the start of the year, that haven't sold, that have got gloomy images, photos, and are now coming out of contracts?
I still see some pictures with snow in it and frost. Come
Mate,
on.
I've got a couple. There's a couple in currently with Christmas trees still in their own photos.
Come on. We're in a completely different season, let alone month. So, I mean, look, it goes back to the point where how not to sell your house, right? If you really, really want to sell your home and you've got a Christmas tree up, snow and frost, realistically, a buyer's going to be like, okay, that's been on the market for 4 months, maybe longer. What are you doing? You're obviously not motivated to sell. You're automatically putting a negative frame of mind in a buyer's head, which I always say when I go on valuations or I speak to buyers and speak to sellers, is like, you want as many positives as possible rather than negatives, and you're just giving someone a blatant negative. Like, it makes no sense at all. So yeah, definitely get that changed, get it updated. Like we sometimes, Ellen and I, go out a week later if it's a white sky, no blue sky. We'll go out a week later, we'll find a window, we'll be like, right, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we're going to come around, quickly take a front shot, and then we'll upload that straight away. Like, why would you not? It makes no sense to me, but hey ho.
But why would the agent not do it as well? If you're selling that property, why would you not, like Sanjay just said, on a nice sunny day, just nip out and go and take a new front photo or garden photo? Or
detail, isn't it?
Is it hard for them because we've had a lot of April showers? I mean, 1 minute it's sunny, 1 minute it's raining. Do you think that's where maybe the agents, they're struggling because it's seasonally, it's changing all the time? Or is that just a straight out cop out? It's just
I'd
the
say
sun's
it's straight
out.
I mean, not being funny, like Sanjay said, and I've seen it before. In the last couple of weeks, there's still properties out there that have got snow on them. It's April. We've had so many sunny days, dry days. In the last 4 months, there's been plenty of time for an agent to just nip out and just take a new front photo and upload it. It doesn't take long.
So I was talking earlier about the report that's come out that's kind of showing some of the statistics at the moment. Here's the graphic. Here's one I prepared earlier. So if you compare it to pre-pandemic, so Q1 2019, there were 427,000 listings. So it's down 6%, but there's still 400,000 listings that have come to the market in Q1. In terms of sales agreed, that's also down 7.5%. This is across the country, bearing in mind, just the whole country. And then if we look at exchange stuff, down 9%. Fall throughs are slightly up by 6%. Price reductions are way up 5% in comparison. Bearing in mind they're up on units, but obviously there's been more that came to the to the market in the prior year. So that's why I say way up, because it's a big swing. But withdrawals are down fairly significant. So there's not big numbers. I mean, nothing's double digits there, Mike, in terms of percentage swings. But that's why I think a lot of people are comparing it to pre-pandemic, really. But, you know, sale agreed. If we look at it there was 400 came to the market and 270 odd thousand of them sold, which that's not too bad in a normal market, is it, I guess?
Yeah, that's relatively normal. You alluded to it, and what sticks out like a sore thumb is price reductions, and that, I mean, that's a shambolic figure, that somewhere in the region of 55% of listings are having their prices changed.
Yeah,
like, you've got to call it what it is. That's absolutely shambolic, from the point of view that either agents don't know what they're doing, or they're doing something that's dishonest, or vendors, sellers are being unrealistic with their pricing and leading their agents, and their agents aren't strong enough to say no.
Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it? You got big things, Sanjay, on price reductions.
I've got the stats before we let Sanjay go on it.
Yeah.
That in this area, I ran these stats a couple of days ago for the team internally. In this area, the worst offender, and again, I'm talking within sort of the core patch of Avocado, the worst offender has a price change ratio of 64%. And Avocado's price change figure is 17%. So there's this massively wide chasm of how estate agents are marketing properties. And as I've said earlier, I'm a fan of certainty. I'm a fan of delivering what or getting what I wanted, rather than getting not what I wanted, quite frankly. And putting your house on the market and having a 64% chance of having your price reduced is not getting what you wanted.
Yeah, that's a big difference, isn't it, between us and some of the others there. I mean, I've seen those stats as well. It's mind blowing. It's no surprise that the ones that have got the highest reduction percentages are normally the larger corporates. You know, they are the ones that are driven by targets, and the facts are, whether someone has a go at me about saying it or not, they are typically the larger corporates that are the big culprits when it comes to the price reductions. Sanjay, anything to add to that? And what have you got bubbling that you can share with people over the next week?
So 9 times out of 10, when an owner calls me up who's been on the market for 3, 4, 6, 8, 10 months, I asked them, I said, why did you go on with that price? And they said, because we told the agent. The owner, the homeowner, has told the agent what to put the house on for. What are you employing the agent for? I mean, yeah, anyway. We'll move on.
That's full circle, because of the respect that unfortunately the public have for estate agents. They don't trust, you know, their opinion in reality, in most senses of the word. We could do a whole conversation on that, couldn't we, really? But it's a shame that that's the information you get back. So what have you got bubbling going on at hopefully your price, not the seller's price, that you've mutually agreed, but probably with your expertise? What's bubbling?
So we've got quite a few bits bubbling. The main things are, we had a 3-bedroom in Birch Hill, lovely home that we sold a month ago, open house, 8 offers. We've got one coming on a few doors down from that home, which is exactly the same. Very, very excited to get that launched, because I think the similar thing is going to happen. So yeah, 3-bedroom in Birch Hill. We always know they're popular, especially with garage and driveway parking. Everyone knows if you live in Bracknell, parking in most of Bracknell is a bit of a nightmare. But this has got driveway and potential. Corner plot, lovely.
What sort of price is that, Sanjay?
400.
Nice, okay.
The last one we had launched at 400, sold at 420, and he had 8 offers on it. So just to give you some perspective. So, and then we've got another lovely 3-bedroom in Forest Park. Can't wait for that to launch as well. Going out there tomorrow, actually. So keep your eyes peeled on our Facebook page for a Beat the Portals.
Very nice. Lee, what about yourself? You've had a few bits in your home village of Cranley, haven't you, recently?
Yeah. Well, I've actually got a few bits coming on outside of Cranley. So I've got two beds coming on the market within the next 2 weeks in Horsham. One on the Broadbridge Heath modern development, and a 2-bed just outside the town centre. The one just outside the town centre is going to be coming on the market at 340,000, but nice 2-bedroom semi-detached with garage, empty. Tenants are just moving out, so they'll be gone as of next week. And then I've got a really nice 5-bedroom detached coming on the market in Caterham. So just a couple of miles outside of Cranley, but yeah, they've found a property, so very keen to obviously get sold. So that's going to be coming on the market within. I'm going out there next weekend to go and get all that on. So yeah, a couple of nice properties coming on now.
Yeah, looking good in the sun, I'm sure. Mike, have we got any lettings bits bubbling between you and Andy over the next sort of week or so?
Yeah, we're out open house tomorrow down in Sandhurst. If you haven't booked that, you're probably too late. Listing a 1-bed in Bracknell probably tomorrow. Going to see a smart 2-bed apartment in Binfield tomorrow. And we've got one ready to go. We're just waiting for the right timing, which is a 4-bed townhouse in Crowthorne on Bucklers Park, which is fast becoming a super popular area.
What price will that come on for, do you think?
2,200.
Okay. Might have a tenant for that one. I'll let you know off camera. One of the school mums. So yeah, leave that with me.
And
Cool.
a 2-bed flat in Yateley as well. We're firing. We've got loads.
Yeah.
It's all happening.
All happening. It's good to see. I mean, look, I feel good about the market, and I think things are vastly improving week by week. And I think we are not going to see the market that we saw before with the kind of sub 1% interest rates. We all know that, but we're all locked in. More properties are selling than are coming to the market from a percentage point of view. You know, it's over 50%. And when it's over 50%, the market's good. I keep saying the sun's shining. I did say it was going to rain. It has started raining in Crowthorne. In Binfield, check in, rain?
Raining.
Yeah. Warfield, Sanjay?
No. Oh, yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Have you got rain, Lee? Can you confirm?
Yeah, we have rain in Surrey.
Okay, well, there we go. Direct Apple weather report for everyone just as we finish up. Sanjay, you want to give me an air high five, or did you want to say something?
I was going to ask you a question. What's the headline rate at the moment for mortgage rates?
3.79, Dave. Uncle Dave sent through the best rate yesterday. All buy-to-let deals are under 4%. If you've got 70% worth of mortgage, you're going for 30% deposit. From a headline point of view, anyway. So
Isn't that interesting, though? Because obviously what happened with the inflation rate as well recently, yet we're still seeing some good deals. And I remember getting my first property and the mortgage rate was 4.64. So I think that's pretty good. I think we're in a good place right now.
Yeah. I mean, I remember my first base rate hike because we've had about 11 of them recently. But yeah, it's kind of almost like the banks are just doing their thing. You know, they want to stay competitive. We said this, you know, back in November. They want to stay competitive. They want to hit their annual targets. They want to lend people money. They want to make money. People want to move. People want to sell. We're here to help. So give us a shout if you need us. In a really badly ended jingle I nearly created there. Just needed some music to go with it. Lee, thanks for joining us, bud. We will see you soon.
Good to see you all.
Sanjay, thank you. Mike, good as always to see you. Thanks for joining us from the Neon office. And we're back next Thursday, 6 o'clock. If anyone's got any questions, fire them in the comments and we'll still answer them. No problem at all. Have a good weekend.